If you're not willing to learn, no one can help you. But if you are determined to learn, no one can stop you. That's fast becoming one of my favorite quotes. It's actually from Zig Ziglar. And I think it's a perfect way to introduce my Wednesday Wisdom series. Hi, I'm Krystal Tomlinson, and welcome to my YouTube page. If this is your first time here, quick introduction. I'm a self-management strategist and a public speaking coach. I work specifically with women, helping them to organize their time and to build systems and processes to operate at maximum efficiency, accomplish their goals in less time, and enjoy more of the life and freedom that efficiency and success affords them. And of course, as a public speaking coach, I teach women to speak with courage, to amplify their voice so that across the spectrum of our lives as women, productively, professionally, internally, we have a greater sense of achievement and success. So I'm launching my Wednesday Wisdom series, and I use the quote to start because the focus of this series is to show you what I'm actually actively learning as the day goes by. We talk about success and the ability to sustain success. We're also discussing the ability to keep learning, to stay humble and accepting that there's always room for you to grow. It's never going to stop or come to an end. You will have moments where you thought you got it, and then life throws you a curveball or asks you a big question, and you realize that, boy, it looks like I really didn't get all of it. And so I wanted to be active and vulnerable and open, sharing with you what I'm learning as I go. And there's a big learning moment for me, and I think all of Jamaica, on August 21, 2023, when our two stars in the 100-meter women's finals at the World Championships came home with second and third, silver and bronze medals. As we look at what is going on and we feel bad about or women not winning the gold, remember they have worked very, very hard to be able to win silver and to be able to win bronze. And so while we did not get the gold, and we will mourn this, expectation that we have going in all the time that we're going to walk away with the gold as the sprint kings and queens of the world. It's an expectation that we have as bystanders. Yes, we are observers. We're looking on. There's nothing we do to actually contribute to their ability to prepare, to go out and to perform at a level that gets them on the podium. But it does not stop us from grieving. I think we took a whole day on what we describe in our country as the wellness bench. When we say we need a mental health day, we talk about going on the wellness bench. We were on the wellness bench for an entire day, because not only did Jamaicans not take home the gold, we were beaten by somebody who, at least on Twitter, there's like a hard rivalry between that person and or other female athletes. And her name is Sha'carri Richardson. Let me start off by saying congratulations to Sha'carri. There's no bad man and bad blood here. Again, what it takes to win at a world championship level, especially against veteran athletes, it's not a joke or a walk in the park. And for her to be able to do it at her age so young, I think is a testament to her own discipline and focus as an athlete. So congratulations to her again, even as we are in our grieving and mourning phase as Jamaicans. But here's why it was a big learning day for me. And I think collectively, every woman stands to learn something from Shelly-Ann and Sha'carri specifically. There are some questions that are asked very often when we talk about women who are doing well, are at the apogee of their career. Two big questions that always come up. Why can't women be happy for each other? And as we observe the women celebrating at the end of the race, the embrace, the laughter, the chuckle, even the kindness that was shared during the post-race interview, that question was answered, I think, very clearly, that there is nothing that stops us from being happy for each other and demonstrating that in a lively and authentic fashion on the world stage. Another question is, why is she so hard on herself? She's always so hard on herself. We know mothers who are entrepreneurs. We know mothers who are entrepreneurs and wives. We know mothers who are entrepreneurs, wives, serving their church in their community, trying to build something beyond what they already have. And more often than not, when you hear them share about their journey, it's almost like they're complaining more often than they are celebrating. And there is not a lot of room in there where they're giving themselves grace and pausing to enjoy all these things that they're working on, building, and to the world succeeding at. There just always seems another thing on the plate to be done and no pause for her. And so you hear people asking, why is she always so hard on herself? I think she did a good job there. I think that's amazing. I think that's worth celebrating. Doesn't she see that? Here's the truth. It's challenging for women to celebrate themselves and to celebrate other women because we're often bombarded with messages, particularly in the media, about what we should look like, how we should act, and what we're allowed to achieve. And those ideals filter into our mind and our psyche, sometimes without us knowing it. Here are a few of those things that we may be learning unconsciously. One, that modesty is a critical feature of being successful as a woman. And so, if a woman is to do something that might be interpreted as bragging or self-centered, too ambitious, too egotistical, she may shy away from taking that action, from asking that question, from presenting her achievements. Instead, what she's going to do is worry about what celebrating herself will look and sound like to other people. The things that we have worked hard for, we start to downplay and dismiss, because if we're to talk about it and celebrate it, somebody might listen to it and decide that we don't deserve to be respected, and we don't deserve a recommendation, and we don't deserve a promotion, and we don't deserve an accolade because we weren't modest enough. Another reason why it's rare or harder to find women celebrating each other and also celebrating themselves and how far they've come is the presence of a scarcity mindset. We are deliberately taught to compare ourselves to other women and to believe that if a woman has a place or a spot at the table, it means we do not get a seat at the table. Some opportunities were deliberately scarce and unavailable to women. And so it is novel. Unfortunately, even today, some things are still so novel for women to have, for women to accomplish, for women to even be in those spaces and sitting at those tables. And because it is so novel, you might be tempted to believe that it means it is never possible for you. And so seeing a woman who is celebrated as the first to ever, the best to ever, we can sometimes miscalculate that mentally into thinking that it means it's too late for us. So we perceive success as a limited resource, and it leads us to a sense of competition instead of a decision to collaborate. We're comparing ourselves to each other, and so it's easy for us to overlook the value in lifting each other up. And of course, as we compare, the other has to be diminished. So if I'm comparing myself to somebody and I don't think I measure up, of course, it's going to be hard for me to celebrate my wins. If I compare myself to somebody else and I think I'm better than and more deserving than, of course, it's going to be hard for me to celebrate when they win. So we might find ourselves sizing up the accomplishments that other people are celebrating and unintentionally feeding the culture of comparison that is encouraged daily through the messaging and also the social programming for women. And the third reason that we might find it hard to celebrate ourselves and other women is because we don't exist in a space of gratitude. If we are to be able to enjoy the wins as they come, we have to pause and be grateful for the things that are present in our lives already. It's important that we see the worth that we inherently have even before we get the first trophy. It's important that we start to say thank you for those who have invested in us and our journey even before we get on the first podium. And that's one of the things I noticed as I was watching the post-race interview that Shelly-Ann did with Television Jamaica. There was just this magnifying glass put on the positive things that had led her to even be able to get third place. And I use the reference to a magnifying glass because that's what gratitude helps us to do, to bring intense focus to the small but very wonderful and meaningful moments, the moments that nobody's going to see because it doesn't get to a television screen for global broadcast. And so we have to apply that magnifying glass and zoom into those wonderful moments that could otherwise go unnoticed. It doesn't change the world around us, but it changes the world in us. It changes how we see the world that is external. And while we know that a magnifying glass cannot create an object, doesn't it help you to really magnify, see, understand, and get very deep in your awareness about what that thing actually has to offer? I think it allows us to appreciate more deeply what life is doing for us and the things that are going right and the abundance that surrounds us every day. And so when Shelly-Ann talks about her coach, her team that helps her to prepare, her husband, and what it means to be 36 years old and still able to get up and run. She spoke about her journey so far, getting a bronze here. While that is good, and she's grateful for that, she's also grateful she's a 10 times world champion. That's something to be excited about on any day, no matter the quality of race that you run on that day. You are a 10-time world champion. At 36 years old, nursing a knee injury, she's able to medal bronze. And she's still clear that there's room for her to grow and improve. And so, by putting on that lens of gratitude and literally magnifying the things that would have been great for her 3 years ago, 2 years ago, 1 year ago, but with the fast paced space that we're in, you forget very quickly. It is short lived and the memory short term. So, it's almost like she's not an Olympic, world, and in every other space that she operates, a champion because she lost this one race. So it's good to see her use her magnifying glass and to zoom in on the thing that she wants to amplify and the feeling that she wants to rest in, not regret, not feeling like she has lost her reign to somebody else, not feel like she is a loser, but recognizing that she's still a champion. And that's something not many women know how to do. In the moment that we experience a loss and a disappointment, especially if it is in view of others, we forget all the things that were going right just before, the many, many wins that we would have logged that got us to this journey, the people who, even in this experience of loss, invested so much, the ways that you won in building relationships, even if the outcome was not what you had anticipated. Put on that lens of gratitude, walk with your magnifying glass every day. And that's what I was reminded of as I watched the post race interview with Shelly. The other thing I learned, and this is actually a reminder for me because it's a life principle that I operate on, a life principle, a spiritual law, and non negotiable for me, for everyone to be willing to work, whether to earn it or to keep it. For everyone to be willing to work. And what that simply means is always be willing to work for the win. Whatever the thing you have as your ambition, the goal that you're working towards, the thing that you're pressing hard to accomplish, to achieve before the end of the week, the month, or the year, also make sure that in the wanting and in the desiring of it, you are willing to work for it. And when people are willing to work, because after they talk about the win, they will share with you the strategy, the how, the process, the discipline that's going to get them there, because they too are willing to work for the win. Too many of us stop at the point of craving, and that's why we can't accomplish what we need to accomplish in order to celebrate ourselves. And but even before I get there, let's talk a little bit about the craving. Craving is not enough. Wanting something is not enough. Craving doesn't turn any keys. It doesn't open a door just because you sit down and you're desiring and salivating and the appetite is wet and getting wetter for the thing. Craving doesn't turn a key and unlock any door. Craving is not going to manifest anything. All that craving is evidence that you're existing in lack. It's identifying that there's something you don't have and you want it and you are not satisfied until you have it. That's all craving is. And if you crave too much, look at what you lack and feel unaccomplished or unsuccessful because you don't have it. You crave too much and you crave for too long. You know what ends up happening? You get so desperate that you settle. And in settling, it also aggravates you spiritually when you see other people climbing, thriving, and succeeding. Because you know what you wanted, but you stopped wanting it because you didn't work hard enough for it. You missed the opportunities. Time is supposedly running out, and you think it's too late, so you're just gonna settle for what you think you can get. Out of desperation to have a thing, you just settle for anything that is there. You get so discouraged is another consequence. So discouraged by the craving without the work. So discouraged that you stop. So maybe you start the disciplines and you start the habits and you knock on the doors and you send the emails, but you don't see the result as quickly as you wanted to see it, and you're craving the thing and you don't feel good without the thing, and while you're working you're still wanting the thing, and you're not strong enough to stay focused as you work. You get discouraged and you stop. And the third thing that happens because of the incessant craving is that you get so envious that you struggle to celebrate and support those who are earning their wins. So we have to be careful not to lean into those messages of competition and believe that you're operating in a space of scarcity. Whatever you want, you can have if you're willing to earn it. And whenever we forget that we can earn it, whenever we forget that we too can have, we get desperate and settle, we get discouraged and stop, or we get envious and struggle to support and celebrate the people who are earning their wins. So when I watched as our ladies with their silver and bronze medals, with their second and third placement, slow down, walking shoulder to shoulder with Sha'carri and being cordial with her, cracking jokes because they were clearly laughing at something. And even her own demeanor as she responded to them, the warmth, the giggling, and then again in the post race interview, the warmth that was shared between both of them, it tells me that those women understand that anytime they want to get first place, all they have to do is work a little harder. And if they want to lose first place, just stop working hard because there are two people behind you ready and willing to take it back because they've had it before, right? Those gold medal positions on the podium. Don't get caught up in that spiritual struggle of envy, of cattiness, of disrespect, of gossip around other women. But it's when you forget that anything she has, if I really want it, I can work for it and have it too. There's nothing that's running out. There's no opportunity that's not available to me because she has gotten the opportunity. When you stop feeling that things are running out on you, what is there to panic about? You just zone in and focus on the work you have to do to earn your win. So know what you want and know why you want it and know how you will work for it. More and more of us need to start learning how to earn it. Learn to earn it. You see somebody driving a G-Wagon, you hear that somebody's going to outer space. You want that for yourself. You get frustrated when you see the photos online. What you getting frustrated for? Those things can be earned. Even if they didn't earn theirs, you know that these are things that can be earned. So go and work for the win if that's really and truly a win that you want. And you know why it matters to you to register that win. And then the third thing, this one is really related to how Sha'carri has really turned her own brand around from somebody who was very aggressive and was flagged as being rude and disrespectful and immature and not prepared for the limelight, to a much more tempered, settled, alert and aware, intelligent. She would have had to be intelligent before because just get intelligent, but finding a way to demonstrate that emotional and mental intelligence when she speaks. That's big growth. Listen, Winston Churchill said success is not final and failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts. And clearly, she had the courage to continue. She learned the hard way that success while she was in college is not final. You can win yesterday and lose tomorrow. But she also learned that failure is not fatal. Yes, people would have tried to sacrifice you at the altar of public opinion because you did not show up in 2021 at the Prefontaine Classic. That year was supposed to be Sha'carri's big comeback, and she was gonna slay the field. And she was also running against Jamaicans. If my memory is correct, we got 1, 2, 3 in that race. Shericka Jackson was in the race. Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce was in the race. Elaine Thompson-Herah was also in the race. Elaine cleared that field at 10.54, new Diamond League record, second fastest time in the competition's history. Blew Sha'carri out of the water. Nobody remembered Sha'carri was in the race. She came last, 9th out of 9th. And that was supposed to be her big comeback here. The world is watching, and she still failed again. But you know what is important to remember? We have to give ourselves room to grow. It's not every time you show up on the track and you get yourself in the blocks and you move off at the sound of the gun, you're going to register a win in your run. Not every time you show up, you're going to walk away with the trophy. But as Churchill said, it's the courage to continue that really counts. And one of the tweets that emerged at that time was actually from Tarana Burke. If you know Tarana, sorry. If you know Tarana, she's the founder of the Me Too movement. And this is what she said. That baby is a phenomenal athlete. She'll have her time. It's Elaine's time. 2 years later, it is Sha'carri's time. And I don't know if it is, part of the mystery of the universe. Elaine was not even in this race. She was not able, because of an injury, to qualify for this world championship. It was Elaine's time on that day, in that season. But clearly, no, it is Sha'carri's time. Even if it's only one race she won't ever win in her career. Not calling that down on her still. But the point is, even if she never wins another race, she was able to get herself good enough to compete and to beat the best in show. Everybody's going to get their time, but it is if you keep working, right? You give yourself room to grow and then you do the growth work in the window. And that's exactly what she did. So I want to remind you, if you're somebody who is working on your win and probably you have registered a few losses on the journey, winners are not afraid of losing, Losers are afraid of losing. Winners know that losses are part of the journey. Winners know that success is not final and failure is not fatal. Winners know they can get up tomorrow, try doubly as hard, and get a better result. Winners know that in 2021 they can come last, and in 2023 they can come fast with the fastest time. Winners know, and so they're not afraid of losing. They get up and they apply the courage and the discipline to keep moving. And so when you're dealing with a winner, you'll never have to ask a winner why the winner can't celebrate somebody else winning. Because a winner knows it is all in due time that these things happen for us. And everybody has a season. And wherever you are in a season of loss, all you need to do is apply the discipline after getting clarity on what you want, the discipline to actually get it. So imagine a world where every woman had that winner mindset, where she was able to build that magnifying glass of gratitude, to always see the good in the circumstances, to pull out the lessons, to say thank you, to celebrate what has gone right, even if the final outcome is not what you intended, to give herself a pat on the back for getting this far, even if you don't get there at the time and the moment that you wanted to. Imagine a world where women had on their winner lens, and they were sure that once they're willing to work for the win, they can accomplish anything. And so they don't have to get desperate as they're looking for a partner and settle. They don't have to get discouraged in their business and stop trying to allow it to grow. They don't have to get envious of what other people are doing and therefore can't find it in their hearts to celebrate and support people who are working hard too and probably registering the wins a little earlier. They give themselves room and time to grow, so they're not trying to meet this perfectionist and unrealistic standard. They're not trying to compare themselves to standards and metrics that honestly do not exist. They're not blown away by every failure. Their ego is not completely inflated, yes, by every win, but instead they're rooted as part of their character in a space of courage, daring, bravery, authenticity, vulnerability, knowing that right now I'm probably the seed. Right now, I'm just the seedling. Right now, I just burst up above the ground. Right now, I'm just learning how to build out this tree trunk for this oak tree. Right now, I'm about to bear my first nut. And allow themselves, in whatever season they're in, to be in that season in the best way that they possibly can. Imagine if you're the woman who does that. And if you're not the woman who's doing that right now, steps are already laid out. Operate in a space of gratitude. Always, always, always be grateful for what is and the opportunities before you, even if you don't quite know how you're going to maximize them. Always be willing to work for the win you want, and always be willing to give yourself room to grow. That room could be 2 years like Sha'carri had, that room could be a decade, but give yourself the room, the time, and work smart in that window so you can actually grow into that magnificent, flourishing oak tree that you're meant to be. Imagine a world like that, where we amplify each other's voices, support each other's growth, and also stop to celebrate ourselves. That's the world I want to live in, and that's the world I'm coaching women to create as part of my one-on-one coaching program and my group coaching program. So if you're interested in becoming that kind of woman, if you struggle to live in a space of gratitude, to strategize for the win that you want, and to build the disciplines and the habits to get there, register for a one-on-one coaching program with me, and let's see how quickly we can get you to your goals, your milestones that build out the broader vision that you have for your life. It's been my pleasure sharing my Wednesday wisdom with you. I hope you picked up something from it and that it can be useful to you on your journey too. And don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more empowering content. Until I see you again, remember, winning is hardwired in your DNA. Just focus on working for that win and focus on flourishing. No matter what happens, what I know is that with discipline and dedication, focus, you will thrive. And I'll close with that Zig Ziglar quote once again: if you're willing to learn, if you're not willing to learn, no one can help you. But if you are determined to learn, no one can stop you. Love, light, and blessings to you. Thanks for watching.